everybody, it's Christina from Card Making Magic. In the first video in this series, which was the Spectrum Noir introduction, I told you all about the pens and the papers and the inks that you would need. And these images, these beautiful baby images, are from Mo's digital pencil, and these are the ones I'm going to be colouring in the videos. Now what I've done is I've printed the image twice onto an A4 card, and that's the 160 GSM card, and that will leave me enough space to add a spellbinder around it and cut it out. Now if you bring in your colour blend chart, which you can print off the Crafter's Companion website, you can see that in your pack of 6 skin tones, these are the colours that you've got. So you've got FS2, FS3 and TN2, and those are your basic skin colours. And then you have 2 blusher colours, which are FS6 and PP1, and the shadow effect is created with EB2. If I'm changing the skin colours for a different look, then on the same piece of paper that I've stamped or printed my image off, I will add the colours that I've used and mark it ethnic skin or olive skin, and then I can always refer back to this to get the looks that I want on the images that I'm colouring. Now we're going to start with the skin. So the 2 skin tones that I've chosen are FS2 and FS3, and the numbers wear off the pens eventually, so you'll need a permanent marker just to mark the numbers back in, otherwise you'll forget which pens they are. Now it doesn't matter whether you work from light to dark or dark to light, really doesn't matter. This is just the way that I work, and it can be different on different images. So I'm going to start with the dark one, FS3, and I'm going to use the little pointed end, the nib end. And because this is a digital image and I don't want the ink to run, although it's been printed in grayscale, I don't want to risk it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dot over the black bits first. I'm not rubbing them, I'm just dotting over them so that they don't bleed into my pens. Now once I've done that, I can go into the sides and lay down the darker colour just around the edge of the face, and I'm just using strokes on this just to get the colour in. So I'm only working on an area at a time, so I'm just working on the face. I've laid down the FS3. Now with the FS2, I'm just going to go into the lighter bits, and again I'm just stroking the colour in. And I'm not going over what I previously put down, I'm just going up to it. And although it may look patchy at the moment, just don't worry about it, just carry on doing what it is you're doing. Now for the cheeks, I'm going to use FS6, and I'm not going to just put a blob down for the cheeks because that's very difficult to blend in. What I'm doing is I'm dotting it in, and I'm dotting it in a triangle from the eye out to the cheekbone, to the jawbone, and a little bit on her lips. Now once you've done that, that needs to be blended in. So take your lighter colour, your FS2, use your pointed end and just go back in and blend it all in. And go over what you did previously. that will give a deeper layer to your colouring. Now you can go around in little circles if you wish, or you can just stroke the colour in. And again, don't worry that it's blotchy, because the alcohol needs to dry off the pen. Now that needs to be blended in with FS3. So again, I'm just dotting it over the shade in her ears and under her chin and around the hairline. And then that needs to be blended in with the palest colour, which is FS2. Now the next thing I'm going to do is add in the shadow around the face. So with EB2 and the small end, I'm just going to look where there would be shadow, and there would be shadow inside her ear and around the side of her face, under her chin and along her hairline. Now that needs to be blended in with the FS3, which was the last colour that you used around the edge. And I'm not going all the way over the face, I'm just going up to the shadow part. All that needs to be blended in with the very first colour in the middle, that's FS2, and you're just going to blend all that in with the small end, and you're just going to blend all that in. Now you're going to try and stay within the lines, but at this point, if you can't, if you go outside the lines a little bit, don't worry, because it will all be blended in. Now that needs to be set aside to dry, because it will take about 10 minutes to dry and the alcohol will evaporate. Now what I mean by that is, this is a colour system within alcohol. Your blender pen is just pure alcohol, and that, once it's on your page, looks grey, but once that dries, it's totally invisible, it's clear. So this is the colour within the alcohol, and it looks quite dark. So once the alcohol evaporates, that colour will be a lot paler. Now if you're not happy with this face at the moment, don't worry about it, because if you look, it's just next to white paper. Once you've coloured in the hair, that will look totally different, and it will also dry lighter. So let's go on now and do the arms and the legs. So we're going to start with FS3, and we're going to look at where the shadows would be. And the shadows would be under her arm, under her dress, and in the curve of her arm, and along the bottom of her arm, and under the little bit where her thumb curls, and perhaps one or two of these fingers that are behind the others, and the same on the other side, under the sleeve of her dress and along her body where her dress would leave a shadow, and along the bottom perhaps the bracelet would cast a little bit of shadow, and where the thumb is. Now that needs to be blended in with FS2, so we're just going to go up to what we've just coloured and add in the FS2, and the same on the other arm, and again just dot over the black line so that you don't spread it along. And that will give you a little bit of shading in her arms, but to increase the shading you need EB2, and you're just going to go under the sleeve and along the crease in her arm and just a little bit around the bottom of her thumb, under her arm, in the crease in her elbow and along the dress, and that again needs to be blended in. So I'm just going to blend that back in with the FS2. And you can always add more shading if you wish, but if you go in light, it's easier to add more colour than it is, well, you can't take it away. Once it's in, you can't take it away. So there's her arms done. So let's go down to the legs with FS3, and the shadow would be under her dress and in the little rolls of fat along her leg and where her socks are, and again under her dress, under her knee and down the side of her leg. And as I say, if you go outside the lines at this stage, don't worry about it. Blend it in with FS2, and then once you've done that, you can add extra shadow with your EB2. So we're just going to go under her dress, just a very small line, and again blend that in with your two other colours, FS3 and FS2. So we're just going to blend that in there. And then blend all that in with the palest colour, FS2. And all you're doing is getting rid of the harsh lines. So there you've got her skin done. And that's using all the colours, or some of the colours, in your skin tones, which are FS2, FS3, TN2, FS6, PP1 and EB2. Leave that on one side to dry, and that will dry paler as the alcohol evaporates.